All right, now let's take a look at another example of solving a square root equation where we have to check for extraneous solutions. So, as you can see, I put a step-by-step guide here for solving either square root or really just any radical equation you might come across. So as you can see, the first step is always going to be to isolate the radical. So we want to do that here. We want to get this square root of x plus 7 by itself. So we're going to have to add 5 to both sides to do that. And now we have the square root of x plus 7 is equal to x plus 5. Now our next step is to raise each side to the power of the radical's index. All right, so that means for this problem, our radical's index is 2 since it's a square root. So we're going to have to square both sides of these equations, or both sides of this equation. We're going to have to raise it to the power of 2. So raising this left side to the power of 2, well, that eliminates the radical, right? Because squaring a number, an expression, and taking the square root of it are inverses, so they get rid of each other. So now we have the square root of x plus, oh, I'm sorry, not the square root. I just said it gets rid of it. So we just have x plus 7 is equal, now we have x plus 5 squared. All right, so that's the same thing as x plus 5 times x plus 5. And if you use your FOIL method to solve this, or you use the fact that we have the square of a binomial, and that's equal to a squared plus 2ab plus b squared, you would get that this expands out to x squared plus 10x plus 25. And now we have a quadratic equation that we can solve. All right, so we're going to solve this equation for our values of x. So remember, for a quadratic equation, we need to set one side of our equation equal to 0. So we'll set this left side equal to 0. All right, we'll subtract, let's go back, subtract x and 7 from both sides. And now we have that 0 is equal to x squared plus 9x plus 18. And now to solve this, we can either use our quadratic formula, or we can just factor this and use the zero product property. So that's the method I'm going to use. I'm going to factor this x squared plus 9x plus 18. And if we factor it, we see that it will factor to x plus 6 times x plus 3. So now, using our zero product property, we know that either x plus 6 has to be equal to 0 or x plus 3 has to be equal to 0. So we would see for that to happen, x would have to either equal negative 6 or x would have to equal negative 3. So now we have our two solutions, but remember we have to check for extraneous solutions. So for this, I just used a Desmos calculator. So if we go check our solutions, this one was x is negative 3 right here. So we have negative 3 plus 7 is equal to negative 5, or I'm sorry, equal to negative 3. So that checks out. When we plug in x, we get a true statement. Negative 3 plus 7 minus 5 should equal to negative 3. Now we see for our x value being negative 6, when we plug negative 6 in for x, we get the square root of negative 6 plus 7 minus 5 is equal to negative 4. So our x values don't match up where they should here, and that is why x equals negative 6 is an extraneous solution. So we get x, so our solutions were x equals negative 3 or x equals negative 6. Well, we can cross out x equals negative 6 because it is extraneous. So our solution is x is equal to negative 3.